Hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Nerd.World Films, and in today's installment of movie vehicles we're looking at a rare one in the Star Trek franchise, a ground vehicle in a franchise that's mostly set in space. We're looking at the Argo ground vehicle from the movie Star Trek Nemesis. Before we get started, please like, share, subscribe and comment down below if you like this video. And also, I should tell you that this video is sponsored by my sponsor Relentless Rebels, who we'll get to a little bit later. With all that said, let's just get started. The Argo, or at least the ground vehicle component of it, as it was a two-part vehicle, one for space, one for the ground, was in a way, a spiritual descendant of a sort of the moon buggy. Let's go with that one. It was an all-terrain, high-speed, high-acceleration vehicle. It had 4 wheels, as was standard to human technology for many centuries by this point. It was utilized by Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Commander Worf, and Commander Data on an excursion to an alien planet while they searched for positronic signatures that turned out to be various different components of another soon-type android that would become known as B4. The vehicle was extremely fast, although its top speed was unknown as it was traveling over rough terrain. It was had extremely high acceleration. It had various small compartments where you could contain equipment, tricorders, medical supplies, other such things, as well as to store more equipment that you may need. In the back of the vehicle was one of its probably most impressive features, was a small retractable phaser pulse cannon, which was significantly more powerful than a standard energy phaser rifle used by Starfleet in the 2370s when this craft was developed. It was a military grade weapon which was, although low firing rate, was extremely high velocity in terms of the speed of projectile and created a very satisfying high explosion when it hit something. The vehicle itself, as I said, was controlled much in the same way as a 20th or 21st century Earth vehicle, with a steering wheel and basic controls. It had a suspension system and was made of basically a roll cage frame-like design. Now, there are many glaring problems with this vehicle. Not least of which, when you factor in the level of technology the Federation has, they can build micro-transporters. This thing doesn't have transporters. It doesn't seem to have any real built-in sensors or scanning equipment, which could have easily been installed. It is ground-based, which is fine for selected circumstances, but a sort of drone-type vehicle would probably have been a better choice. But the biggest problem is not that I can't see that they wouldn't have had a use for sort of niche vehicle like this to sort of bug around the planet on when you want to quickly move around but don't want to go through the hassle of using transporters that are power intensive. You can lug equipment, personnel and other materials around with you in this vehicle. It could probably tow something as well, so that's all well and good. I can see the uses. The problems I have is, although this is clearly not a military vehicle, it does have a military grade weapon installed on it, but yet has no armor. That's fine in a franchise that widely and readily available shield technology, should I say. This thing has no shields, not even basic shields. It has no retractable armor plate, nothing. You are completely exposed to the elements. You've no environmental controls. Even a car now has air conditioning and climate control. This thing doesn't even have those. So you're exposed to the elements, you're exposed to alien atmospheres, you've got limited supplies and materials on board it, no scanning equipment, no shields, but you do have a big jock-off cannon. The vehicle is fast and extremely maneuverable, and like I said, it'll go pretty much over anything. We can assume that the actual body of the thing is built from duratanium or maybe tritanium, so it's pretty much going to be indestructible. But on the other hand, an enemy doesn't have to destroy it. They can shoot you quite readily because you don't even have glass panels or like transparent aluminum or, again, shields to stop things hitting you or attacking you, or maybe to contain a small atmosphere if something else was to happen, or to screen against biological or radiological weapons that could be used against you. The weapon does, as a result, in a defensive circumstance, have a lot of problems. Again, considering it does have the built-in weapon, which is again only at the rear, you can't even fire it forward. So to begin with, when someone thought this thing might be attacked, they're already thinking about running away rather than defense. So there are issues with this vehicle, but I can see that under peaceful circumstances it will be quite useful. But then again, if it's designed to be used under completely stable, peaceful conditions, why then have the huge, great big assault cannon mounted on the rear? Which also has a fairly limited range of motion. Considering you're in a universe where things are likely going to be attacking you from above, you can't really fire at things above you. This thing can only really fire its arc to the sort of rear of the craft, with it probably does have a 360-degree swivel, but considering it's fired from a person in a seat mounted behind it, even though you probably can turn it the other way around, the actual man or woman operating the weapon can't get behind it to fire it forwards, and it might not have the elevation to get over the pilot of the vehicle. But anyway, all those problems, it is still awesome. And some trivia: Patrick Stewart, when making the movie, actually, possibly half joking, but possibly not, it's Patrick Stewart, the guy's a boss, he's awesome. He actually said, keep my salary, just let me keep that. As long as you give me that, I'll do this film for free. And for some reason, they didn't go for it, and he didn't even get given it at the end. And it's Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart turns around and tells you he wants the buggy. You give him the buggy, right? They probably paid him how many millions? Ooh, anyway. It is still a fun vehicle and looks great. Which brings me to my sponsor thinking of looking great, which is Relentless Rebels. They are linked in the description below, and they do great Viking-style jewelry, rings, chains, necklaces, whatever, and other accessories. If you like anything that you find and you go to checkout, use the promo code NERD20, all in capitals, and you'll get a 20% discount on all your purchases. Now, with the shameless plug of my sponsor out of the way, back to the video, and again, this vehicle, I'll touch on it slightly, was actually deployed from a small, well, slightly small, quite big for a shuttlecraft, which was extremely fast and maneuverable, sublight craft only, but capable of atmospheric entry and landing, and can deploy the craft out of the rear compartment. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that vehicle because on my sister channel, Nerd.World, I'm going to be doing another video soon dedicated just to that vehicle. So anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. If you liked it, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. And again, check out my other two channels. I got Nerd.World, which is fairly similar to this channel, and is going to have a sort of counterpart episode to this that I haven't actually filmed as of the recording of this video, so it'll probably be up tomorrow or the day after, but when it is, it will be linked either in a card or down below. And also Nerd.World History, which is also linked below, which is nothing like this channel, but is all dedicated to history, mostly prehistory. If that's something you think you might be interested in, please check them both out. Like, share, subscribe over there as well. And with all that said, if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching, and bye-bye.